Good morning, guys. This is Jenny. This is our Kundalini Yoga class. This is our live class. You'll have to forgive me for not being available yesterday. It's one of those things where, sometimes the most unexpected stuff pops up that you have to go attend to. But we are going to be changing our yoga time from the live class from afternoon on Sundays to early morning. I initially thought that more people would be able to attend on Sunday afternoons, but what I'm finding is that's actually not the case, and it's actually significantly more difficult for me to find the time. It seems like that's one of those times where all kinds of things do tend to pop up. So to create more consistency, I'm going to take it back to a Sunday morning. I think that's going to be far more efficient for everybody involved. And that's just what this is. Sometimes it's figuring out what works best, and we have to try different stuff. So today we're going to be doing our Kundalini Yoga Kriya. And I really love this Kriya. It's such a beautiful one, and it includes a lot of the Gyan Mudra, which I really love. And trying to find the name of my mudra. I had it pulled up right here. Not mudra, my Kriya. But it's basically about coming back to our inner strength. I will find it in a moment. So I thought this was going to be a really important one today, because what I've noticed is, as I've been learning in my own expansion process and just learning who I am more and more, and really that's what spirituality is to me personally. People can have all of these grand ideas of what spirituality is and how we're seeking to access these higher realms of consciousness and all of these things. That's really just a byproduct. That higher levels of consciousness, the higher vibration, is really just a byproduct of knowing the self so intimately. That's literally like your main job in this time and place, is to know the self, to support the self, to take the actions, to make the choices, to speak the words that elevate and lift the self. Honoring, of course, through that, the truth of your nature, the truth of your being, the I am. And so it's so important that we, instead of focusing on these end game or these certain kinds of results that we're attached to achieving throughout our expansion process, it's only ever about knowing and vilifying the self. And this practice today, I think, is a really beautiful one to help us learn to access that strength within, to tap back into our own internal being, because as we come back to ourself, that spiritual nature of our own being, as we access our spirituality, begin to know the self so purely, so intimately, so truly, and to really embody that truth, what happens is we find that a lot of the parts of the process are not as beautiful as we thought they were going to be, right? Things can look or appear ugly or wrong as we're doing our own healing work, because now we're having to make choices for ourselves that not everybody else approves of. And a huge part of our conditioning of the program of is going to be creating safe boundaries, healthy boundaries. It's going to mean changing our behaviors, changing our actions, changing our words to those things that are supportive of our own being. It means we're no longer accessing or seeking to access those approvals through gaining other people's, excuse me, I lost my train of thought there. It's gaining other people's approval in order to seek that acceptance and allowance, and that then it becomes this game of like meeting other people's needs above our own, making sure that we're taking care of other people. It's that people pleasing thing, you know what I mean, where we're getting that acceptance and allowance and that praise for meeting other people's needs and for doing for them and for denying the self. And that's something that we really have to learn not to do. And as we start to stand up for ourselves, as we start to sink into our own truth, as we start to make those choices that are necessary for our own being, a lot of people don't always understand or lovingly accept those new choices that we're making. If we create a limitation or a boundary where there wasn't one previously in regards to access to our energy or access to our need to, for that approval, things could change. People can get upset. People can get very angry with us. It can cause distension in our relationships. And I think that we think it's so much easier to keep the peace than to create those waves. But that's a part of the experience. It's a part of the experience of regrounding back into our own being, connecting back to our higher self, is remembering that we're not always going to make everybody else happy. And not only are we not always going to make everybody else happy, sometimes we're going to piss them off. It can look ugly doing this work. The choices that we make can feel wrong sometimes because we're so steeped, dyed in the wool that we're supposed to take care of other people's needs ahead of our own, that we're always the last person on the list. And so initially there's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of shame, there can be a lot of sadness, as in like a loss of relationships sometimes because you're no longer willing to do things certain ways. So it can be tough. It's not this like beautiful, shiny rainbow, like glitter and unicorns kind of a deal most of the time. As we start to come back to ourselves, often that's when a lot of the ugly stuff arises. And because we're taught, it's such a weird thing, right? So in society, we're taught to always focus on the negative, almost always, but we don't want to look at the ugly. Which, how freaking backward is that? It's so backward. We don't want to look at the ugly. If it's ugly, it's bad. We automatically judge it, label it, and we say that, oh, that's a bad thing. I cannot engage in this bad thing, right? So I just should keep on doing things the way I've always done them and keep the peace. And it's such a sick, twisted cycle that we continue to engage in. And then we just never realize, like, all of the intricacies of the choices that we make and all of the effects that they have on us and the people around us. It's like, we're doing people so much more of a favor when we stand in our own truth, when we protect our own needs, when we do what's right for ourselves, because you're opening up space for them to also engage in those types of freedoms. And that's what it is. When we access our truth, we are peeling away the layers of everything that has kept us in bondage. We're taking off those chains, those self-imposed chains. We're taking off all of those bondages that have kept us locked in this pattern or cycle of behavior that has not drawn us toward our highest and greatest good. And we have to be willing to come up against those levels of opposition that people are going to meet us with. A lot of people on a subconscious level are going to be frustrated when we start doing these things, not because we're no longer serving their needs. That could definitely be a part of it. But I think there's also this element of like, how come you can do that? Why do you feel comfortable and safe protecting your own needs and your own interests when I feel like I'm still locked in this old pattern of behavior? It makes it more frustrating. It makes it more annoying. And it's just one of those things like, yes, you may be frustrated initially, but later on that subconscious level, like I say, even if we're playing to lead, that yes, you can take care of yourself as well. You can make those choices that are best for you as well. This is not a selfishness. This is where people get really freaking confused and they label things, and it's not appropriate. Selfishness is not doing what's best for you. Selfishness is when you're doing these things, you're making choices that potentially benefit yourself, but they're not motivated by love. Potentially they're motivated by jealousy, by greed, by lack. You know what I mean? So it's always about what is motivating the behavior, the words, the actions. And as long as you are motivated by love and you know that in your heart, you know that because if it's right for you, and sometimes it hurts and sometimes it's ugly to do what's best for you, but that does not mean that you shouldn't do it. That doesn't mean that it's not right for you, quote unquote. This is your life and you have to live it according to what you feel is best to support and uplift those higher aspects of your own being. It is your responsibility to protect that aspect of yourself. And that's when it's so important to tap into our inner strength. Because there's going to be times in our journey where the only one who's going to support your choices, the only one who's going to understand why you did what you did, is this person, the self. And you have to learn to rely on your own strength instead of buckling and giving back into the pressure to keep the peace. It's when times get tough that we really see what we believe, what kind of truth we really support. If we're willing to do even the ugly work of supporting the self. And so when you feel like you're challenged, and you're having to make those choices that are best for you, but other people aren't necessarily understanding it, if you're having to face some of those ugly aspects of doing your own work, peeling away those layers and releasing those limitations and bondages, this is a great practice for you to enter into to keep you grounded in your own being, tapping into your own strength, so that you don't need other people to validate or support your choices. You can find that validation and support from within your own being, which is essentially what this Kriya is about. It's such a beautiful Kriya that is meant to tap back in to those beautiful aspects of your own being, sourcing your own strength. About this Kriya, they say, for our security, we normally reach outward to things or inward to emotions and strong feelings, when instead we tap deep into we instead tap the deep strength of our soul, we can achieve fulfillment. The power currents of our passion turn to compassion, commitment, and joy. We're no longer reaching outward for that validation, for that approval. We're tapping back in to the strength of our own soul so that we can achieve the fulfillment. That's where true peace, true fulfillment comes from, right? And like I said, we're using that Gyan Mudra here, which is so beautiful. I love the Gyan Mudra. I mean, it feels so good. It's primarily used to promote and maintain stability during meditation practices. And we traditionally use it in a seated position. And it encourages the healthy flow of prana, the vital life force, and balances internal energy throughout the practice. And this practice is just loaded with it, which I just think is so cool. And it's a very flowy movement, which I think is so beautiful. It's been used, this Gyan Mudra has been used for thousands of years. It's highly symbolic. You connect the pointer finger and the thumb for that Gyan Mudra. And it says that it symbolizes the union of self with the universe, which I think is completely just so awesome. You're bringing together these two realities, and it's fundamental. From evolving from ignorance to wisdom and from darkness to enlightenment, highlighting this mudra's significance, helps the practitioner focus on attaining true knowledge and wisdom. Particularly when held during meditation, Gyan Mudra can help increase mental strength, sharpen coordination and concentration, and improve focus. So I like this one a lot. It's really good for our root chakras because, a lot of the time when we're feeling that confusion, that distension as far as the choices that we're making, we're feeling that in the belly most of the time. You're feeling that in those lower chakras, that safety, that security, all of those kinds of things. It stresses us out. So this can be a great way if you're questioning what choices to make, if you're making the right choice, come back in and access that internal strength. So we're going to go ahead and get warmed up this morning. and tuned in. We're of course going to start by tuning in, so grounding into that easy seated posture, dropping the shoulders back and down. You notice as you drop those shoulders back and down, the heart space immediately wants to radiate forward, coming long through the spine, lengthening all the way through the crown of the head, and closing the eyes and bringing your attention and your awareness back inside. Starting to breathe consciously, equal length of inhalation to exhalation. Conscious breath comes all the way down in the belly. Now take those hands in front of the heart space and start to rub the palms of the hands together. Unifying those palms, drawing them back into stillness, tucking the thumbs into the breastbone, unifying the polarities of the being, the pranic and the aponic. We're going to utilize that mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo, tuning into those higher aspects of our own being, calling forth that soul space, that predominant aspect of who and what we are. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully and completely. Inhaling to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale nice and deep, suspend the breath at the top, apply your root lock if it's within your practice, sealing the energy of that mantra into your being. Exhale. Release the lock. Releasing the hands gently onto the knees, but keeping the eyes closed and breathing into the body. Just taking note of what's inside. So often we make assumptions about situations, we make assumptions about how people are going to react. We tell stories about situations and circumstances. And it's all of these thoughts that are within our control to edit, to choose to empower or to not empower. The moment that we notice a story is racing through our mind that is not aligned to our highest and greatest good, we have the ability to stop the thought, to choose not to engage, to shift our attention into something that is more life-affirming, more uplifting, and more supportive of our highest and greatest good. And then we allow the situation to unfold as it is. And if someone chooses to get upset because you are making the choices that are best for yourself and your family and your life experience, that is their responsibility to deal with that. As long as you are motivated by love, As long as you are motivated by the desire to do what is truly best for you, truly best for your family and your life experience, it's not your job to worry about other people's reactions. It is only your job to deal with the energies that are in front of you in each and every moment. To always choose to engage in the experiences, the situations, to utilize the words, to make the choices, take the actions that best support you. Gently opening up those eyes whenever you're ready so that we can engage in this really beautiful Kriya for accessing the source of strength in you. So to start, you're going to keep those elbows gently resting at the rib cage. Hands come up, palms are forward. Take those hands into Gyan Mudra. Pointer finger and thumb connect. The rest of the fingers are pointed up directly into the sky. And the movement for this is really fluid and gentle. And it actually says on here that you can decide your own pattern of movement according to your own sense of flow and style, which I think is awesome. So just feel into it and feel what feels right. And you're basically just going to start with those hands in Gyan Mudra facing forward, a little bit above shoulder level, rotating the wrists and arms to make circles, moving the hands outward until the arms are fully extended and the palms face out to the side. So just like so. And once those hands are fully outward, you're going to bring it back in. Elbows again are resting at the side, palms are forward. And keep it going. And you're going to close your eyes here. Actually, sorry, excuse me. Keep your eyes open. You're going to be here for 3 minutes, and you want the speed for this to be maximum. So go ahead and draw those hands into Gyan Mudra. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely and begin. And you want to move as fast as feels comfortable and safe to you, where you're actually fluidly moving. It doesn't feel forced or uncomfortable. Keep it going. After 3 minutes, we're going to take it even faster for another 3 minutes. And I've reduced the times here. The full time is actually on the second round, 10 minutes. So if you ever want to work up to that, you can feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can keep it at that 10-minute, or 3 minutes, excuse me. You can find that juicy gaze, that one point of still focus, allowing this to be meditative. More than halfway through. You have just a little more than a minute left before we take it a little bit faster even. Feel the way the body energy shifts as you engage in these types of movements. Take note where the energy is moving, what kind of thoughts are coming up for you, without judgment and not feeding them, just witnessing and observing. 15 seconds, and then we're going to take it a little bit faster for 3 more minutes. And then go ahead and take it faster. Of course, if you have any issues in the body that are keeping you from engaging in these types of movements, you can close the eyes and visualize. Keep it going. You're already 1 minute in, you only have 2 minutes left to go. Less than half to go. "52 seconds left." Make this the strongest part. Some of these can feel really frustrating, really irritating when we're working through them. And we're working through those frustrations, those irritations on the mat, so that in our everyday lives, it's much more ease, much more peaceful. These old feelings aren't rising up and tainting our experiences, tainting our feelings, our perceptions about things, situations, or people. Getting rid of all of those energies that aren't serving us in a super safe place. Take those elbows back to the side, fingers are forward. Inhale nice and deep. Suspend the breath and apply your root lock. Exhale. Release the hands down onto the knees, keeping the eyes closed. Breathing into the body. Gently opening up those eyes whenever you're ready. We're going to inhale, take those arms overhead, clasp those palms together, and we're going to rotate our torso in a circular motion. It does not say which direction to go, so start in direction that feels most comfortable and safe for you. The momentum of the movement of your hands acts as a weight and counterbalance to the rotation of your lower spine. Keep the elbows straight. So come up with those arms overhead. Inhale nice and deep. Exhale fully and completely. And then inhale to begin. Start in that direction that feels the best to you. You're going to be here for 3.5 minutes. You can even switch directions if you need to at some point. Keep those elbows as straight as you can. Biceps are hugging the ears. Eyes are closed. Focus is at the third eye. This doesn't have to be a huge movement. You're already 1.5 minutes in. You have 2 minutes left to go. One minute left. Inhale to center, keep those arms overhead, suspend your breath and apply your root lock. Exhale, super slow and gentle, turn the palms of the hands away from each other, gently grounding your energy as those fingertips find the earth beneath you. Keep those eyes closed and breathe into the body. Check into your own energy. Gently opening up those eyes whenever you're ready. We're going to take our hands and grab onto our arms just over those elbows. We never want to grab on the actual joint, so it's going to be just over the elbow. You're going to take those arms up on your inhalation and gently tap the forehead with the arms. Exhale, down, tap the ribs with the arm, the inner part of the arms. Inhale, exhale. We're going to be doing this for 3 minutes. So go ahead and come nice and long in the spine. Place those hands on those arms. Inhale nice and deep. Exhale completely. And then inhale to begin. Keep it going, breathing in and out through the nose. You're going to be here for 3 minutes. Eyes are closed. Focus on that brow point center. Alternately hitting the crossed arms against the abdomen and the forehead. The impact should be distinct and intentional, but not hard. In the last 30 seconds of this 3 minutes, we're going to double our speed. This exercise benefits the immune system. Remembering that sometimes in doing this work, this self-work, it's not always pretty. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes when we're in these exercises, we'll feel uncomfortable, we'll feel angry, we'll feel frustrated. And it's okay to just be. Allowing the energy to move through us, not holding on to it and telling a story about it and allowing it to thrive within our own energetic field, but just witnessing and observing without attachments, without judgments, without a story. Just allowing those energies to move through, working through them on the mat in this safe space. You're already 1.5 minutes in. Already more than 2 minutes in. Keeping those eyes closed gently, we're going to take it a little bit faster for this last 30 seconds. Keep it moving. Inhale up. Suspend the breath, apply your root lock. Exhale, super slow and gentle, releasing those arms back down in front of the chest. Take those hands and gently relax them down onto the knees. Release the breath, release the lock. Keep those eyes closed. Just breathe into the body for a moment. Gently opening up those eyes. Take those hands back into Gyan Mudra. We're going to extend those arms straight out to the sides. Palms are going to be face up. We're going to hold this posture. We're going to breathe into the body. We're going to be here for 3 minutes. So go ahead and extend through those arms. Palms are face up. Close the eyes. Draw your attention inward and upward towards the brow point center. And inhale nice and deep. Exhale, letting it all out. And inhale to begin. Keeping those eyes closed. With those arms stretched out, the spine nice and straight, the chin is lightly tucked back and down, and the chest is radiating forward. Feel the energy flowing into the palms of your hands. Focusing completely on that energy as it flows into those hands and arms, which are the antenna for the heart, drawing in that pranic energy. Keeping those shoulders relaxed back and down as those arms are extended. Ensuring those shoulders aren't rising up towards the earlobes, which creates more tension in the posture. You're already more than halfway through. So just continue to relax into this posture with those arms extended. Thirty more seconds. Really, really nice and slow. On your next inhalation, draw those hands in towards the body as you bend those elbows. Allowing those elbows to rest at the rib cage. Take those hands in front of the face. Sides of the pinkies and palms touch until those hands are resting just in front of that face. Continue to breathe. Those hands are still in Gyan Mudra. Only the sides of the hands and the pinky should touch. This is Narayan Mudra. With those eyes closed, silently meditating. Those elbows are gently balanced at the rib cage. Excellent, straight spine, gentle neck rock. Those eyes closed, we're focused on brow point center. 1 minute to go. Inhale nice and deep. Suspend the breath at the top. Exhale fully and completely. 2 more times. Inhale. Hold it at the top. Exhale fully and completely. 1 more time. Inhale nice and deep. Suspend the breath at the top. And exhale. Release those hands down onto the knees. Come back to the breath, keeping the eyes closed. Then really slow and gentle whenever you're ready, releasing yourself down into the earth for your final Shavasana. Utilizing that core strength to take the spine vertebra by vertebra slowly with grace and ease all the way down into the earth, lengthening through the legs. Allowing the feet to fall to the side, arms gently framing the body. And breathe. What if you trusted that it was all arranged for you? You're trying so hard to figure out how it will happen. You're working so hard, forcing it. You're hustling, thinking this is how you earn it. But what if you followed your clearest intuitive voice? What if you trusted that if you keep showing up, it's all arranging for you? Maybe you can't predict the way it's meant to unfold. Maybe you're blocking the magic by assuming you know what it's going to look like. Trust that it can be better than your plans. Apply this to anything you are questioning and worrying about in your life. It's arranged. Your life is not a destination to arrive at, it's an unfolding. And so let it unfold. Let yourself be led to the next exciting thing. Let yourself release the grasp on trying to force, so that all the magic, miracles, blessings, and lessons can find their way to you. Let go. Trust in doing so. You end up exactly where you're meant to be. When we make those choices, it can be so challenging, that are uplifting and supporting of our own experience. It can feel so scary and so nerve-wracking and so challenging to be honest with the people in our lives, to create those safe boundaries, to make those choices that are best for ourselves. And the strangest thing happens when we actually follow through. When it's meant to be, when it's the right thing to do, you feel the weight lifting off of you like a ton of bricks and you feel free. And every time you make those choices that are supportive of your own experience, you feel freer and freer, and you release more and more of the bondage, those old chains of the old stereotypes, dogmas, pasts, stories, and experiences. And you reframe your perception of yourself, tapping into the strength of your own being, accessing all you need from within. It's time to learn to trust. Even when it's ugly, even when it looks scary or nerve-wracking. Sometimes we have to face the ugly to access the freedom. So really slow and gentle, start coming back to your body, back to your breath. Deepening the breath, the inhale and the exhale. Wiggle the fingers and toes. Wrapping hands around wrists and feet, around ankles. And now taking those gentle stretches. And then gently rolling over onto the right side in the fetal position for a moment. And affirming to yourself, you are worth choosing. I accept the responsibility of making the choices and taking the actions and speaking the words that reflect my highest and greatest good. And then pressing into the palm of the left hand, drawing yourself upright into a comfortable seated position so that we can complete our practice today with 3 long Sat Nam. Sat Nam, I'm truth. Truth is my name. Truth is my identity. Taking those hands in a prayer pose, tucking the thumbs into the breastbone. Inhale nice and deep. Exhale fully and completely. Inhale to begin. Satanam. 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 Satnam. Namaste. Satnam, I'm truth. Truth is my name. Namaste. I honor that truth that exists within each and every one of you without the desire to change it. Thanks so much for showing up today, guys. Thank you for being gracious with me when I have to move things around, because it does happen from time to time. I appreciate you guys more than you know. I love you guys so much. And I'll look forward to seeing you all next week. So until then.